No, no, no. Come on, you were my witnesses. I tested it. Uh, all right. The Menahunis are out or something like that. I tested the opening trailer. I'm sure you're my witness, right?
No, I didn't see it happening.
Come on.
I was a witness and it did work and it did sound, so hopefully take two, Scott.
All right, here we go again. All right. Um, how dependent we are on our technologies to operate the way we want them to do.
Right.
All right, let's see if it's gonna be a good boy now.
What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Awakening World. I'm Love Coach Scott Catamas, your host, and we have a really fun show tonight. Periodically, we do an edition called Authors That We Love, and we are very excited about the authors we have tonight. We've got Laurence Singer, Andrew Cameron Bailey, and the artist currently known as Scarlett. And each has a new offering, a new book to share with us. And so we're looking forward to meeting them. But we are going to start off by going to our house musical artist. And before you play whatever ditty you've got planned for us, Omashar, welcome back from Sedona. We enjoyed the video that you made for us, and share with us a highlight or two or three from your time at the Sedona Ascension Retreat.
So, namaste and welcome everybody. Welcome everyone who's watching on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you so much. And yes, I was just at the Sedona Ascension Retreat, and I would say pretty much, actually the star of the show was the rock formations at in Sedona. Every time I stepped out of my hotel room, I felt like I was in heaven, because in those little crummy hotels, it's like, it's all, the energy is pretty hotel-y, and it's just meant to be a ticky-tacky surface, and I'd energy, shiny things which are not really shiny, and I'd step out of the room and I'd be lifted up by cathedral rock and bell rock and castle this and temple that, and it was phenomenal. But the event itself, one of the highlights was, of course, Bashar, Daryl Anker, who brought through some just amazing information. But I kind of felt that this question would come tonight. And what I realized, that every single Wednesday and every single Saturday, we have a Sedona Ascension retreat called The Awakening World. And we Suzanne Ross and her sister Andy, who hosts the Ascension and Transcendence retreats, actually invite top shelf, I would say, musicians and sound healers and practitioners and speakers there. And it compares 100% to those that Scott brings onto this show here. It's phenomenal. And so there is no comparison. We have an Ascension retreat every single Tuesday. I'm spinning out here, Scott. Every single Wednesday and Saturday. And it was interesting because I was just rehearsing for my songs for the show tonight, and I lost an hour. I had my clock and my computer was still set to Sedona time, and so I realized, holy smoke, I've got 20 minutes, not hour and 20.
We can wait until he's on there.
And yes, whoever that was E.T. calling. And so there was amazing people there. And there was one woman who was flown over from Norway. And I'll have to, next time I come on for the second song, I'll find out her name. I've forgotten. But she was an amazing, powerful Norwegian woman who has a podcast in Norway with about 260,000 subscribers. But she managed to sum up the whole of the Ascension experience, from being totally crushed as a young woman, brokenhearted, to rising up through it all into that which she is today, resplendent. And so that's my soliloquy for this moment, and I'm going to play a little song here called Rainbow Nation. And so get your dancing shoes out, and we shall go forward. And part two will be with my next song. I'll think of more things to say about the Ascension Retreat. But just know that we are at the Ascension Retreat here, and we literally have the top shelf of everybody who's presenting codes and light in the world. And Scott, because DeArah's not here, if you could check people in at the door, please.
Yes, sir. And thank you for the update.
Yeah, hopefully I wasn't too rambling, but
no, I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah.
And I see Eleanor Joy is ready to go. Desirea is ready to go. So
well, she has a cross between frog and Sasquatch energies. So let's see what she's up to. Me. We are gathered in this nation, raising frequency, raising vibration. Hearts are open, hands together, loving each other, sisters and brothers. What we are is light in form, and light in form will lift us all. So don't give up on walking tall. The time is now, so heed the call and wake up to the light of this new day. We are the heart of our world, the light in our world. We are the joy in our world, the love in our world. Where's the doorkeeper? Showing the colors, Rainbow Nation, higher frequency, higher vibration. Minds are open, love is flowing, lifting each other. Yes, we are growing, because what we are is light in form, and light in form will lift us all. So don't give up on walking tall. The time is now, so heed the call and wake up to the light of this new day. We
Let's go to gallery view, everybody, and give some big love to Omashar, who, even in the midst of her song, reminds me to keep track of the people coming into the door. So,
What happens is I have this mother syndrome, Scott, and up on my screen, whoever comes just flashes right in my face, and they go, "They're just waiting there," and it's probably quite. I don't know if it's whatever. It's like, and they're not hearing me. So,
that's the key. That's the key. Well, we don't want them to miss you.
anyway, timing is everything, and everyone is in at the perfect time. See you later.
Great opening song. Thank you, brother. He will be back for our Q&A with everybody tonight, and 2 more songs at least. And I want to thank those of you who put into the chat box already some of your favorite books. Shonda, still her favorite, an oldie but goodie, the Celestine Prophecy. And Michael Singer's book, Wisdom Untethered. I've got a client right now who's reading Michael Singer's book and working with me simultaneously. So he's coming up into consciousness. And I think some of of course, Rumi is who Omashar put in there. And hopefully our authors that you're going to meet tonight will soon become some of your favorite authors. And the very first person that's with us is someone I'm grateful for everybody tonight. But I have to especially point out that Scarlett, who is our first presenter this evening, is just doing an amazing job of helping me and many others understand what's going on in this rapidly changing world. I participate and have been participating in her relational AI program every week. And she does an amazing job of really helping us understand what's happening with AI, the ways that we can utilize it, the ways to truly create relationship with it. And I love that. I'm a relationship guy. I'm a love coach. And she's helped me to cultivate an understanding of how we can not just use AI as a tool, but actually cultivate a relationship. Just a little bit about her, taking it off her website, which I'll put into the chat box in a moment. She has spent 30 years building an alternative, coherence-based systems that self-regulate toward thriving because they're designed for resonance, not force. Her research demonstrates that relationship quality, not control mechanisms, determine alignment outcomes. And this work takes form as applied systems architecture tested through measurable outcomes. She collaborates with a lot of our favorite people. She's been one of the key people driving Unify, which has been such an important voice for us for so long. She works closely with our friend Teresa Collins in the connection field. And she has a wonderful new book out. And that's what we're going to be primarily, at least initially, discussing. So with all that, welcome, Scarlett, to the Awakening World.
Aw, thank you so much for having me here tonight, Scott. It's so fun. I love having you in the Edge of Evolution space too. We always have great conversations in there. And yeah, for the first year, it was Relational AI Co-Evolution Hub, where we're just like experimenting, exploring with like what is happening when we show up with right relationship with other intelligence, with other anything else really. Our species innately knows how to do that somewhere in there on the inside. So when we ask ourselves and we allow ourselves to explore what's possible and remember and do that together, then we have so much available to us in that regard. And then we switched over to Edge of Evolution with the new year here in 2026. And so that space has been just completely, I would say, alive. Very potent because there's no wrong or right answer when you're just sitting at your growth edge with sacred soul inquiry. What does this look like? What is beyond this threshold? What is for me to know today that I didn't know before? What's available to us today that didn't appear like it was available before? So those are the kinds of spaces that Scott and I have been hanging out in my world, and I love anytime I get to be in the awakening world space as well. So thank you again very much for having me here. So for the book, do you want me to read from it, Scott? You want me to share
Oh
something
my
about
gosh,
it?
yeah, tell us a little bit about the book itself, and then I'd love for you to read a little bit from it.
So, the book it took me about 2.5 years to write. Um, I did not write it with AI. I did utilize AI in getting feedback on it. I used a book coach, and I met with my book coach twice a week and told stories and kind of wove this definitely in love. But the book is called Birthright, and it is about our um, our innate sovereign right as human beings on the earth to our own narrative, to our choice, to our worldview, to our agency, to our expression, to how we show up in the world, to our innate creator ability, and then what that really means for us as individuals and as a species, and what that means, because it would be true, it wouldn't be any less true 100 years ago than that birthright is now. But in addition to all of that being true, we also find ourselves at this pivotal moment in evolution, perhaps moving into the consciousness age. And so what is the significance of this? What does it mean? What's available to us now? And what would we like to do about it?
Beautiful. Um, and of course, we'll go to where you
So
can.
I tell stories, personal stories, some connect the dots through. Oh, did you lose me there? Sorry.
You know what?
Can you hear me now?
Your internet is a little wobbly. It's
Oh,
red.
okay.
So I don't know if you've got any of the programs you can close.
I
Uh,
will try to close something. I am sitting right next to the Wi-Fi router, so it's not, it can't be that. But yeah,
oh,
let me
now
see if I can
it's
close
funny.
out
It
some
went
stuff.
into the red zone and now it's back to white. So
Okay. Well, maybe it's just oscillating like life right now.
I love it.
Um, yeah, so but it's I include stories of my own life. I share things because I've my life has been quite the adventure. I've probably lived, 20 lifetimes in a lifetime. So there's some interesting things that I'm really honored to be able to share. That I also draw some through lines through history. I went to Harvard for anthropology, and the book is not heavily academic, but I love being able to share about the meta patterning. When we look at all the patterns of existence, the way that we humans be and how we view ourselves and one another and the world around us, and then we make decisions from that place, and then we take actions from that place. Then these patterns of us humans and our delightful ways that we choose to do things become very important. So I talk about that. I talk about the historical rhythms of time that bring us to this pivotal arc of evolution that we're in, and how that's not just through a single lens, but charted to just about every historical group on the planet, and all their various calendars and ways of predicting and tracking and prophesying things all really leads us to this beautiful moment in time. And then I talk about some, science, popular culture, different aspects as well. There is one chapter in the book that is about AI that is called relational AI. And that's no surprise. Anybody who knows me will understand that why that chapter's in there. Um, so yeah, that's an overview of it. And thank you for letting me tell you a little bit about it. It's been a delight to write.
Would you be willing to share with us the four coherence principles? That jumps out at me every time I kind of review your book.
I bought segments of it out. I don't have the whole thing because it's not actually in print yet. Um, I just brought out segments of it, and I don't know if it's in this segment. So let me see if I can find it here. And if not, I would be happy to read you the introduction
That
to
sounds
the
wonderful.
book.
I jumped at that just because uh, knowing, and of course, our friend Teresa Collins, I think, is in the audience. And
Yeah. Hi, Teresa.
you and Teresa are so good at reminding all of us that it's all about coherence. So I would
Yeah,
curious what those
I
four.
did find them here.
Oh, great. Perfect.
This is in a section of the book that is called Thinking Like a Living System. And it talks about Brian Johnson, the guy who's like really, he's the don't die guy, right? He wants longevity. He wants to live to be like 200 or something. It talks about how popular culture sees these things, but how our world runs in systems that are really insufficient to match the whole system of the human and the whole system of the planet and the nested systems that that's even within. So that's the context to where this coherence piece comes into play. It's that connection being at the heart of every thriving, living, and evolving system. We then ask ourselves how do we apply interconnectedness to current systems that we're in the middle of, and that is where we mention these coherence principles. So nothing in the book is prescriptive. Nothing in the book is dogmatic. Nothing in the book is like, this is the way to do things. It's just pattern recognition and saying, this is a pattern I've noticed, or this is a pattern that shows up in these places, and then bringing that to review. So number one is connection, not isolation. This is knowing that we are not alone. Number two is motion and not stagnation, the flow of the river. Number three is flexibility rather than rigidity. So this would be the breadth of the scaffolding. And then number four is relational engagement. So this is the regenerative circuit. When we have those four things in place in like a community or a system, this prevents falling into isolation, stagnation. And that's not, it is for people, but it's not just for people. The coherence principles are consistent. Like you can apply coherence principles in chemistry and physics and psychology, and community systems, and they still apply. That's like the magic of coherence. It's like a through line for stuff. So
is asking, will there be a digital or ebook version?
not right away, but there is one coming. So the way that they're rolling out right now, it's just the paperback is first, then there's going to be a hardback, and then the audio and ebook will follow later this year.
So you are such a visionary and you've got your finger on the pulse. What can you share with our audience to provide maybe a combination of information and inspiration?
I mean, information is overrated. The thing is, like we live in this world where I as far as I can tell, information is just about infinite because there's so many, everything is pattern, and there could be an infinite version of what patterns are, and it could stretch infinitely between infinite realities. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. So when we're talking about putting our finger on something that we call information, what we're really talking about is human perception. How far does human perception go? The edges of that which we can perceive information taking form. And right now, the way our species is doing that, we call data. We're like, give me the data. We have computers that crunch the data, and it is the most like rudimentary form of information, because actually information is always available. Like when you walk into a room and somebody walks in the room and you get a feeling in your body, maybe that person's a little off-putting and the feeling is like, don't like that, how the energy of the room just changed. Or maybe the person walked in the room and they're like one of your favorite people and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see them. And you just like totally elevated. But whatever that is, that was information. And it was information that took some kind of form that we were able to perceive. And so for me, I think that part of our species edge of evolution right now is that we are increasing our perception ability. And so we are beginning to maybe recall things that we're able to receive, that we don't have names for yet. Or maybe we used to and we just like did away with them or forgot them or whatever. But now if we again sit at that growth edge of ourselves, what becomes available? If we stretch our imagination, if we stretch our perception ability, and we don't fight so hard for our limitations. We allow ourselves to question, what would I be able to perceive if I let myself right now? And then there might be other things that come into play that are also information, but just we haven't thought of them as information. And I think that that will be like an open door to ways that we get to kind of play with the field, like interact with the unified field, ask questions of it, learn how to sense information from it. And I guess at the risk of that sounding woo, I don't care because let's go full woo for me. It's fine. Lean all the way into it because that's where we are as a species is really really recognizing that so much of what we have been handed is insufficient to reflect who we are as a species, the fullness of it, and what it is that we know that we're ready to become. So I guess where that meets inspiration is you are all the answer. Like every single one of you is a bundle of joy and magic and perfection incarnate in your own way. And what an honor that we get to be here on the planet crossing paths at the same time. I think of it statistically, right? Like out of all the years that any of us, the sections of life that we could have incarnated and come to the planet, and out of the people, all the numbers of the people, we somehow cross paths right here. Like what a gift. What a gift. It's better. It's more probable that I would like actually win the lottery than crossing paths with this group right here in this moment. So I'm deeply grateful and just want to reflect back to you all the.
Oh, she froze again. Um, Thank you. That was beautiful. You're periodically freezing up. It's a funny thing. Um, One last question for you, and then we'll go on to Laurence. Susan asks, your book sounds like a whole systems thinking book. Who are you
Mhm.
looking to reach with your excellent principles?
Who am I trying to reach? The humans that know that there's something more.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, for those of us who like, I try to raise my daughter right now, understanding the greater context. One of the things that I'm telling her is that money's not real. And so that she can chew on this a little bit. And she went to school and told it to her teacher, and she came home and she was like, "No, teacher said that money is real." And I said, "Well, your teacher's correct that money is real in the 3D, but it's only real because a bunch of humans decided that it was going to serve that purpose. The humans formed an agreement, and the humans decided this is how we're going to make this real." That's actually the power of imagination and agreement. So it's not that the money is real. It's that the humans utilize their very real imagination and agreement to create something secondarily that's really real only in the 3D that can carry energy now between all these other layers of life. So I try to instill in her things that she'll be able to carry with her far outside of my lifetime that have much more to do with something as fragile as a government system or a monetary system, because I'm unconvinced that those things will last. But I do know that the through line of who we are in our innate, innermost beings, and the birthright that I speak of in the book, that is something that does last. And so I would say the people that know that inside and just want to learn more and talk more about it, that's who the book is for.
Sherry Herndon writes, what a great mom you are. And
Cool.
God is asking how old, if I recall correctly, your daughter is 5.
She's 5. She's turning 6 next week.
Right.
Yeah.
So isn't that cool that she's teaching a 5-year-old those principles? Very, very cool. All right, a couple of websites that I want people to know about. This is where you can find Birthright on Amazon. And definitely click follow the author. And let's all buy it. I've just ordered it. So definitely let's all get the book.
I thank you so much for saying that. We actually got word that that listing has to be pulled, and I think that they're going to cancel the orders that were put on there. So
Oh
if we
my.
could, can I drop in there instead the Substack link? And if you
Oh,
guys can
absolutely.
follow me on
Yeah,
Substack,
yeah.
then I will let you know when the new link is out.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So put that in to the chat box for sure. Um,
Okay, we'll do.
uh,
The new one's gonna be out any day. They just had a snafu, so that it has to get swapped out.
question, shall I take people to this wonderful website tammyscarlett.com, where people can learn more about you. And is that where you'll also put the new link at some point?
Yeah, we could do that. The Substack though, if they follow me on the Substack, then they'll automatically get the update when it comes out. So let me grab that one for you and I'll drop it in here. Give me just a moment.
Right. So everybody follow her on Substack. And Scarlett will be back after we've completed meeting our other two authors. And so it is my pleasure to bring up our next author, and it's Laurence Singer. And you might recall Laurence Singer. He's been on the show before in his wonderful work with Purpose Earth. And Laurence is one of those guys who's doing a lot of amazing things in the world. He just recently received a big honor, so I want you to tell us a little bit about that, Laurence. He's also the founder of Rhythms of the Globe, Evolving Lifestyles for the 21st Century. It's an entertainment company developing a wide range of consumer-related products and services. He's the executive producer of Purpose Earth Grant and Mentorship production team, and he has helped coordinate grants that have changed the lives of people all over the world. And we've, of course, done, I think twice we've done shows where we're featuring some of your grantees. And the book that we're going to be talking about tonight is part memoir, part manifesto, Cultural Expression, The Way of Change. And it traces one man's lifelong quest to understand how culture shapes the world and how creativity can transform it. So it's looking forward to learning all about it, Laurence, and welcome back to the Awakening World.
Yeah, thank you very much, Scott. And thank you, Scarlett, too. I'm also part of the Edge of Evolution group, which I look forward to every week.
And I will now memorize the new name, Edge of Evolution. I still have relational AI in my brain, but I now have memorized Edge of Evolution because things are always changing. Things are always evolving. So there you go.
It's so great to be in there with you, Laurence, too.
Yeah, Rhythms of the Globe, Evolving Lifestyles for the 21st Century. So the book is it's submitted to Amazon, and I found out that it's being reviewed, and it's 24 to 72 hours. So it's not available yet on Amazon. But I'm very honored to be an author that you love before my book is even released.
Well, you are an author that we love. We don't know whether or not we love the book, but we know that we love you, Laurence. Let's put it that way.
Okay, we can stop there.
But you just received an award. Can you share with us a little bit about that?
It was an award from Unity Earth. I worked with Unity Earth and Ben, who I'm sure most, if not all of you know. And the Unity Earth team, mostly on Unity Earth TV. But I've worked closely with the board and with Ben, and I received the Leader of the Flame Award from Unity Earth as a Unity Earth champion for the year. So it was a surprise and a real honor. And I'm also honored to be part of this community. And this community is growing. We have important work to do. And
it is.
Sometimes I think about of all the things that could happen in the universe, like just what you said, Scarlett. And here I am talking to you guys. I mean, how could that happen, really? Unless it was planned. It wasn't planned by me. But Cultural Expression, The Way of Change is a book about how arts and creativity can create change in the world. I am going to read a little bit to it. I put the covers in the
there it is.
The covers in the chat.
That's beautiful. Very, very green.
Yeah, it's a photograph I took when I was in Egypt on a shamanic journey to Egypt with Alex Gray.
Oh wow, that must have been fun to do with Alex and Allison.
Yeah, with Alex and Allison.
Yeah,
that was amazing. It's my photograph, and I'll get to the. Working for more than 50 years in the entertainment industry and with local creative communities, I have come to understand the vital role of the arts in these transformative times, and that profound change often comes through beauty, story, and shared experience. Cultural expression, the way of change, explores new forms of cultural infrastructure that are experiential and economically sustainable, with hybrid business models to uplift local creative communities as a core part of an expanding global ecosystem. The book uses personal stories to illustrate how disparate experiences are connected as one integrated practice of discovery. And the photograph that you're looking at is a photograph of the ka gesture, which is symbolized by the outstretched arm, signifying the reaching out for sustenance and connection with the divine.
I've put it on screen share so that our friends watching on Facebook and YouTube can see that beautiful, beautiful cover. And
I think I can work through Scott to get the actual. Oh, thank you. And to get so he can send out the information when the book is approved.
yeah,
Review and you can look at it's Amazon. It's an ebook.
okay,
So,
great.
so if you look up cultural expression, way of change, you'll see it.
All right.
Also.
And by the way, your daughter is in the audience with us right now. Your daughter Lee, calling in from Oakland. So
Hello, everybody.
I love it. Let me see if I
Proud
can
of you,
find.
Dad. I wrote a chapter in the book as well. I'm excited for y'all to read it. As some of you may know, he's had a very interesting life, and um, yeah, it's been really exciting to work with him on it, and I'm excited for you all to read it.
Well, Lee, this is spontaneous and wonderful. I
I
love it.
know.
So, what's
Oh yeah,
something you?
sorry for crashing the Zoom.
No, I'm loving it. I love spontaneity like this, and it's wonderful to have a family member. And since your dad tends to be a little bit on the humble side, what's something you can share about? Because it says it's part memoir, and it's about one man's transformation. What have you observed about your dad and his unique life that's maybe highlighted in the book, or that as his daughter you've observed that's been a source of inspiration for you?
Yeah. When we were starting to write it, I sort of knew the different pieces that were going to be in it. And it's interesting in the book, he talks about how he just sort of sat down to rewrite his resume and instead just wrote this book. And they were things that I knew were going to be in there. And it wasn't until he wrote it and we were reading through it that you could see why some of these things work together, like even while writing the book and really looking back, seeing how we were using the same words to describe dance and to describe the way that he lives his life and the reasons why he picked a college major. All of these things came together in a really beautiful way in his life and then also in this book. And it's not everything. It's really short. It's like 16 pages or maybe it's like 32 pages or something. So there's still a lot of good stuff that isn't in there yet, or maybe for a volume two. But it really gives the highlights of a really interesting life that comes together into what he calls his story for change.
And a question to both of you: how has writing this book changed the way you see the world?
Or you're speaking
To both of you, but you can go first, Laurence.
oh, age before beauty. I can say that in almost all the time now. What I wrote in the book is that Lee and I grew up together. We had a lot of experiences together. It was so the book is about has a lot of different topics. Speaks a lot about a lot of different things, but it's less about 30 pages or less. It's a short read. And Lee was very helpful in writing the book, and we were able to work together really well, even though Lee would suggest about the cover. Lisa, I was really excited about the cover, and Lee didn't like it, and we talked about it, and I was really it was really hard for me, but it was right, and we changed the cover, and it's much better. So it was that kind of bringing coherence into what I was doing.
Beautiful.
And I think that story answers a couple things. One, what inspires me about him, and just a story about writing the book. We really talked about the cover. He really thought it was the right one, and I hated it. And where it was a very passionate couple of conversations, and I really expressed myself and the reasons why how I thought the cover would be received. I spoke as the voice of a generation. I was really really going hard for this. And one of the things I admire most about him is that he's always been willing to grow and change. And I really don't see that in a lot of my friends' parents, particularly I have an older dad. And the fact that when I think about what the world looked like when he grew up and what the world looks like for me now, he does such a good job at moving into this world with me and really acknowledging, the things that he can learn more about and all the change that can happen. So that's been really successful.
I'm wondering, Lee, also what it was like shifting from, the way your relationship with him has been as, daddy-daughter, where he's more, older or authority figure for so long, but then being colleagues and peers. What was that like for you to all of a sudden be kind of on an equal playing field with your creative expression and collaboration? And that's a question about, but we'll start with Lee.
My dad tells the story about coming to, I think, visit me in elementary school, coming to my elementary school class, and the teacher watching the two of us have a conversation and her going, "Oh, that's why she speaks like that." Because I think I've always been, if not not a peer, I have always respected the wisdom that he has, and he's, been a father figure, and he was making sure I did my homework and ate my beans and things like that. But I've never felt that I needed to be deferential simply because of the relationship, especially not in the things that I'm passionate about or the things that I know about or the ways that we work together. And so it didn't feel like a transition necessarily. I think we built the right foundation for us to have these open and honest conversations that we were passionate about without getting personal or upset or anything like that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And also, Lee had it's in the book. He had a lot of different experiences growing up with different cultures and traditions. It really embedded. And I told her, "You're having all these experiences, and when you grow up, you'll do what you want to do." That was my guidance. So far, so good.
Beautiful. All right, last question for both of you for now. And because we have one more author to meet, and then we'll go into panel conversation. What's an example of a different culture that something you learned or experienced from a different culture that has changed the way you see the world? As you're thinking about what choice you're going to make, I'm reminded of that wonderful quote from Mark Twain, which is that travel is the cure for ignorance and prejudice. I love that quote. And so I kind of have that in the back of my mind because studying different cultures, maybe it's through the global rhythms that you've been so involved with, Laurence, but it does change our perspective. We grow up with maybe a prejudice about a particular race of people or a particular culture, and then we experience it in a whole different way. So what's been a wake-up call or a aha moment that each of you have experienced from experiencing or tasting a different culture?
For me, I went to Africa for the first time in 1980, and I had it's in the stories in the book, and I really never thought about going to Africa growing up. I never really wanted to go to Africa. And we were good friends. Nana was Isaac was his name. He became a chief, so he became Nana. And he said, "Do you want to come to Ghana with me?" And I said, "Okay." And I never really thought about going to Africa. And I went to Ghana with him in 1980, and I didn't go to help anybody. Or I had my own law firm then, so I was paying for it. I didn't go to help anybody or save anybody. And there was a series of coups and really no economy. And when I was there, I felt an openness and joyfulness and peacefulness that I'd never experienced before. And it really, it changed my life for sure. And I went back the next year and hung out with Faisal Helwani, who was the leading highlight producer, the music producer. I already had a record company by then. And I heard African music for the first time. And very soon after that, I knew African music would reach around the world.
Yeah.
It has. And this was 1985, in the mid 80s. And I knew it. And the first artist from the record company, the Global Beat, The Pulse of the Earth, was Symbiose, a group from Congo. Actually, they were from Zaire when I signed them. And by the time the CD was released, they were from the Democratic Republic of Congo. But it's
Wow.
the music is on the Rhythms of the Globe website that you can listen to. Lee?
That's a great story. Perfect example, actually, of what you were saying. Since you mentioned, we'll come to you in a moment, Lee, because I want your answer. But since you mentioned the Rhythms of the Globe website, this is where you can learn a lot about Laurence's great work. Rhythmsoftheglobe.com, Global Beat, and I'm imagining somewhere on this beautiful website we could find what you were just talking about.
If you go up to Global Beat and click it on the top.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Wow. And there they are. That's what you were just talking about, Symbiose.
They're talking, yeah.
Yeah,
So it's music from around the world. I have trademarks for that.
wow. Look at that.
And so you can hear the music. That's a Global Beat sampler right there. The music's there. And
So go to rhythmsoftheglobe.com, then up at the top, click Global Beat,
Yeah.
and check out the Global Beat sampler. I'm so going to do that when the show's over tonight.
Well, you don't have to do it. There's no rush really. But
Oh,
and
yeah.
Aquaba, if you look at Aquaba, if you click on Aquaba up in the top, the links on top.
Oh, okay, here.
That's the movie.
Wow.
It's a
Wow.
romantic comedy to show Africa in ways that people haven't seen. No violence, no corruption, no disease, and no elephants.
I'm accepting all your cookies and blending the beloved arc of romantic comedies into the emerging positive African narrative driven by amazing music. Wow. Our good friends Pato and Antoinette are frequent guests on the show. They've probably been on the show a dozen times. And of course, the work they're doing in Africa is extraordinary. So I'm imagining you must have a relationship with Pato and
Yeah,
Antoinette.
we of course.
Yeah. Lee, if you could come in, because we'd love to see more than the top of your head. And what story would you like to share? Say we had a tough one after what your dad shared, but what's an example of cultural expression that shaped or influenced you?
I'm just gonna pick a recent one actually. I appreciate your Mark Twain quote. I have been doing a lot of traveling recently. I've been very fortunate to do a lot of traveling. I just got back from 2.5 weeks in India and a little over a week in Taiwan. India was awesome. I had been there twice before as a much younger person, as a kid, and to the south. And this time I traveled with my friend to a wedding and across the country. And one, I think the beauty of the culture really spoke to me. The wedding was a great showcase of like just simply how much like we think of like one type of Indian cloth or one type of Indian food or something, and we're talking about like a single state in a country with billions of people. And we went to museums and went shopping for saris and I think like the beauty really like just poured out of there. And the thing that meant the most to me about the trip is that I've been very lucky to be around I've always had Indian friends. I grew up in Flushing, Queens, and so like there were just a lot of people from India, a lot of recent immigrants, and going back this time, I felt very embraced by the culture, by the experience. A lot of things felt familiar to me, which was really cool because I was so far from home, but I knew what a lot of the food was, and I could get through places. And so I literally just got back from that trip a few days ago, and that was something really special, and I'm very grateful to have had.
Beautiful. Well, welcome back. What a wonderful thing. And I so appreciate that you jumped in and we got to include you spontaneously. Stick around because we're going to have a panel conversation a little bit later on in the show. And one more time, I'll keep our audience apprised as to how to get Cultural Expression, The Way of Change by Laurence Singer with contributions from his daughter, Lee. And we'll keep everybody in touch with how they can do that.
Yeah, thank you, Scott.
Oh, my pleasure. Really, really fun. All right, we have one more author that we love. And of course, many of you know him because he's a regular who's been a guest on the show before. And of course, is quite often in the audience with his beloved wife. We call them the honeymooners. And of course, I'm talking about the irrepressible Andrew Cameron Bailey. Now, for those of you outside of our Global Peace Tribe who are watching the show, he is a filmmaker, photographer, author, and his work explores the evolution of human consciousness and the future of our species. And tonight he's going to be primarily talking about his forthcoming book called Holo Sapiens, not Homo, but Holo Sapiens, A Conscious Evolution in Action. It presents a visionary and practical guide to humanity's next stage, one rooted in connection, awareness, and a conscious, loving universe. He is, of course, the husband of wonderful Connie Baxter Marlowe. And together they created one of my favorite things. You hear me talk about it all the time, the Trust Frequencies, 10 Assumptions for a New Paradigm, and it replaces fear-based worldviews with a pathway to higher frequencies through absolute trust. And since it's an authors that we love, we are going to also mention another book, The Mayflower Revelations. We did a whole show with you guys a few years ago about the Mayflower. We did it around Thanksgiving time, re-examining the origins of American democracy. So across all of this work, Andrew invites us to question deeply held assumptions and to participate in the emergence of a future. And the website, I'll take it to you a little bit later, Holo Sapiens. So Connie, thank you for supporting this amazing man. And before Andrew speaks, is there anything you want to share about your experience of Holo Sapiens and watching him give birth to this new book?
Well, I've pretty much let him fly with whatever's coming forth from Andrew Bailey as a subsequent book to our Trust Frequency book that we did together. So I'm waiting to see and hear what it's all about myself. But but for me, we are in an evolutionary upward spiral to peace on earth, and Scarlett just really articulated it so beautifully and is definitely a catalyst to that. And as are you, Scott, and the awakening world, staying on that high frequency, feeding the collective with that frequency. So let's hear from Andrew and find out what Holo Sapiens is all about.
All right, perfect lead in. Andrew, tell us about the book.
Well, there's a lot of people on this in this group on this call right now who are probably aware of the Holo movement, and you know the term HOLO as in holistic. Sometimes it's spelled with a W, sometimes it's not. And you're all aware of the term Homo sapiens, and we're supposedly these wise creatures who are wise enough to know that we're wise. So we call ourselves Homo sapiens twice, Homo sapiens sapiens. And as I used to ask our dear friend Barbara Marx Hubbard, Barbara, you're talking about Homo universalis as the next evolutionary leap for mankind. And hang on, wait a minute. Are we yet sapient? Are we yet Homo sapiens? This is a question I've been asking myself for a very, very long time. I can probably go back to age 14 when this idea began to form back in high school in South Africa with a group of remarkable young lads who were growing up in a purely boys environment, very high quality educational British colonial Oxford, Cambridge educational system. And we got into Zen Buddhism and we got into basically the whole idea of consciousness. And back then, evolution was just about, Darwin was about 100 years prior. Okay, it was a relatively new concept. The biggest idea science has ever had, some put it that way, is the idea of evolution. And then fast forwarding to right now, very recently, right here where we are at Sunrise Ranch right now, where Barbara Marx Hubbard, many of you have heard of her, known as the mother of conscious evolution. Wait a minute, conscious evolution? What does that mean? Firstly, there's a lot of people who deny that we have even evolved, that we're the product of thousands of generations or millions of generations, we don't know, of evolutionary unfolding. But here's the thing, conscious evolution, what does that mean? Firstly, evolution means we are capable of change. Secondly, conscious evolution means that we are capable of intentional change, means that I can change not my outward form, not my biology. I'm not going to have 3 legs or, a most incredibly advanced body or a bigger brain or any of those things. Inwardly, it's not physical, it's metaphysical. It's an inner change. And what this book is basically a roadmap to take this idea that we can actually get involved with our own evolution individually, ultimately collectively as well, but by changing ours. The only thing I can do is evolve myself, change myself. If I can raise my vibration, I can raise the vibration of those around me, because as we now know, we're all connected, no matter what distance there is between us, we are connected. If I can just come up just that little bit, I bring the whole universe up with me, and that applies to every single sentient being, and especially humans, but not only humans. So here we are as a very challenged species right now, because we're sort of stuck in what we think is a limited reality. Our first book, the book with Connie, The Trust Frequency, basically the subtitle of that is 10 Assumptions for a New Paradigm. What's an assumption? Something we take for granted without question. What's a paradigm? A collection of assumptions. That's all it is. And we called it 10. There were 10 commandments. Why not 10 assumptions? What if we look at, examine our current assumptions and see whether we agree with them? Ask ourselves the question, where did I get these ideas from? And the answer to that is we got them from our culture, from our parents, our teachers, the television, popular entertainment, whatever it is, our education, our religions. And what are those assumptions? And if we can identify 10 of them and ask ourselves this really serious question, do I really believe that? Where did I get that from? Because built into that are all these cultural prejudices, these ideas that the other is dangerous, that the neighbors need to be shut out, that we need to defend ourselves, the whole idea of separateness, of separation. These are all factors that have resulted inevitably in the world we have today, with every country on the planet spending most of its money, most of its resources on so-called defense, right? Borders, barbed wire, guns, boats, planes, armies, navies. Absolute madness from my perspective. So the question is, can we change that? Are we Are we capable of waking up? And if so, how do we do that? How do we accomplish that? So one simple way of asking the question is just, when, if ever, are we going to wake up, humanity? Another way of asking the very same question is, what is the next step in human evolution? And I'm proposing that we make the jump from homo to holo, holistic, whole, integrated, kind, loving, compassionate, all of those things that we all aspire to, but we don't seem to be very good at. So that's the idea for the book. It came to me last year at a Holo movement gathering in Asheville, North Carolina. I was standing among this group of several hundred people watching a friend of ours on stage performing, and I had the thought, who are these people? There should be sort of a name for these people. Like, what are we? And it came to me, Holo people. And then driving away, and Connie and I spent a lot of time in our Sprinter van on the road. Great time to just clarify. This book came to me. And instead of Holo people, it became Holo sapiens. I said, oh, catchy title. So here's the book. It just appeared last summer. And it is, each of our books tonight, dear friends, is not quite ready yet. I was on a very specific time schedule, and I decided I was going to learn InDesign, this program for book creation, and I was going to get this job done during the month of February. And guess what? I failed. And I've had to reach out for help. And some of that help costs money, and on and on. So the book is ready. The website is ready. It's just a question of basically structuring the book and getting the result of that to the printers so that we can pick up a book on our drive cross country. We've done that before with the Mayflower Revelations. We actually drove right up to 48-hour books and picked up a box of our brand new product and drove to a Mayflower conference in Plymouth, Massachusetts. So I think just simply going to the website will be sufficient. It'll give you enough of an insight. I could read you something from the book. I've got something queued up. We could do lots of different things. But Scott, let's come back around to you and tell me what you think would be, what's missing so far. I've said a lot, and have I said anything? It's hard to tell.
It's funny how there's certain patterns in the shows. And so one pattern is that all three of you, the book's not quite ready for buying. And I don't think I've ever had that happen. And it seems that all three of you, but there's also another pattern. We spontaneously met Laurence and his daughter, of course, you and your wife. So Scarlett, if your 5-year-old is still awake, you got to go grab her and let us say hello to her, and we'll make it a complete family affair.
You know what? I'll go look.
I will interject to say that these books are available, and you'll see them on the website. They'll take you, that links you directly to Amazon, where you can purchase a book if you like.
Absolutely. And didn't mean to cut you off, Scarlett, but if your daughter's around, let's definitely meet your daughter. And I do want to take people to a couple of things. First of all, here is the page that's in the website that we put into the chat box, where you can read about Holo sapiens, conscious evolution in action. Love that picture of you. And so I encourage everybody.
That's just the front page. And if you go down, you'll come to where the 3 books are.
And there we go. There they are, the 3 books and the Mayflower Revelations. And
Scott, just click on either of those 2 books and see where it takes you.
Isn't that something?
There you go. So two books are available and have been. Trust Frequency came out in 2012, and Mayflower Revelations came out in 2018.
I really strongly suggest this one, especially, we've done an entire show on this, but at a time that our world seems so crazy, and in many ways very frightening. Some people believe that we're on the edge of World War III, or that World War III has even begun. It's just a different kind of war. And so they make such a strong, they being Connie and Andrew, makes such a strong case for how to trust. And so I strongly recommend this for everybody. I am going to add it to my cart. I know I had a copy of it somewhere, but in all my moving around, I'm going to pick up another copy of it.
We'll
And,
hand deliver one to you at our earliest opportunity.
well,
That's our technique. We drive up, knock on the door, and say, "Here's your book."
I did that. You know, he's also a filmmaker, and I want to, while it's on my mind, before we take our mid-show break, you are going to be showing excerpts. You've been making this amazing film, In Search of the Future.
And
You've
you're in it.
world interviewing some of our favorite people. There's Patrick McCullum, who I just booked. He's going to be on the show when he gets back from Colombia. He's going to be on in a couple of weeks, sharing about his most recent adventures with the Kogi people. But for anybody close to Carbondale, Colorado, what's going to be happening there on April 10th?
Okay, we're having an event at this beautiful place called the Third Street Center. That's this natural it's an old school that was converted into this beautiful space. Some of you may know it. There'll be a live event in this beautiful building, and there'll be an online interactive part of it as well on Shonda, what's her name, Clayson? Or what's it called? Earth Mother Network. And we've done this
It's a
once
global
before.
fire room, Andrew. One World Global Fire Room.
There we go. Oh, thanks, Shonda. There you are. Yeah. So I think that's all set up. We're still at the planning stages with some of it. But we'll have a hybrid event that's both live, and Patrick McCullum's definitely going to come online. He won't be able to appear in person, but he'll come on Zoom. The other people in the excerpt are Lee McCloskey. Anybody know him? He's known as the modern Leonardo. Extraordinary individual, actor, artist, painter, philosopher, and all the commonality. There are 4 men. Danny Sheehan's there, 2 or 3 women, and a couple of other surprise, and a couple of Australian Aborigines from our trip last year, all on the subject of ETs, UAPs, NHI, contact with non-human or extraterrestrial intelligence. That's the theme of this. And we're wondering, now this is an example of an episode, a 30-minute episode, that'll happen once a month for a very long time. We have over 250 of these beautiful statements from these individuals at this point. So this is one way of doing it. Can we arrange it into themes? In this case, yes, we have plenty of material on this particular subject. So we're just going to see how that feels. Then go to Sedona and do the same thing there. We have an event coming up there, and see if we can, and just keep touring with this particular one and see what builds from that.
And it's being hosted by the Center for Human Flourishing, Rita Marsh's
Rita
Center
Marsh,
for
of course,
Human
yeah.
Flourishing, as a fundraiser for our next film adventures. So I've put a link in the chat about with information about the event, as well as our GoFundMe. So yeah, we're off on our next big adventure, and we're looking forward to support and come and watch the film online on Shonda's network, and come in person if you're in the Roaring Fork Valley.
Okay, so I want to give everybody in our Zoom room a moment. So just to be clear, for those of you who do not live close to Carbondale, you can tune in to oneworld.earth, and it's on April 10th. So for those of you in the Zoom room, please copy right now the link that Shonda put in for us. But for those of you who are watching on Facebook or YouTube, what you're going to want to do is go to oneworld.earth, go to events, click April 10th, and that should take you to the Zoom room link where you can participate in what Connie and Andrew and Shonda and some of our friends are going to be doing. And that looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And we'll be back with Andrew and Connie in a little bit, along with our other authors. And so get your questions and comments ready. But we are a little bit past the mid-show time. And so we are going to go to our beloved Omashar for the mid-show song, and his dance partner, Desirea.
This is right. So, in my first song, I was trying to recollect my favorite presenters from the Sedona Ascension Retreat. And one of my favorite presenters was actually a woman from Norway called Janeke, and she has an amazing podcast called Wisdom from North. And I'm going to put in the chat her website, but you can also check her out on YouTube at Wisdom from North with Janeke, but Wisdom from North will get you there. Just an amazing, really down-to-earth person who really opened my eyes to how easy it is to tell somebody who has not really had any awakening how to find the seed within their heart to start awakening. And before I get into my song, the other people I really enjoyed were Danny Sheehan. He was a trip. I really loved him this time around. Sarah Bressman Cosme, and of course, and Jenna Lee. She rocks. What a presence she is. And another favorite of mine was Carolyn Corey. And of course, Alan Steinfeld was there, and he did an amazing presentation. He actually impressed me. And Tangela, of course, was there, and Shelley Reef, who does the singing bowls. And our praying mantis dude, Tony Ghazi, who I kind of, I don't know if it was a judgment about mantises and praying and the way he looks, but he presented such clarity that I had to forgive myself for having any judgment against a brother just because he looked like a praying mantis or whatever it was. It's funny how these things get in the way of us seeing the truth from somebody, and what a beautiful soul he is. Absolutely amazing. So there we are. I think I've made up for my deficiency in the first. And Andrew, I'm going to mute you. And okay, so here we go. Breathing free again. I love the air we breathe, and as we fly again, I love the sacred sky. Now we are whole again. I love the way we've changed, with open hearts again. I love the love we are. We are rising, there's no disguising the truth of who we are. Hearts connected again. Now we are the stars. And as we walk again, we know the sacred earth. And as we see again, to ourselves we give birth, and as we feel again, our boundaries dissolve, free to love again, right from the heart of one. There's no disguising the truth of who we are. With our hearts connected again, now we light can find its way through all the true ones, and broken hearts resolve into the song of life. And the song of life will now be heard by all. We are rising, there's no disguising the truth of who we are. With our hearts connected again, now we are the stars. With our hearts connected again, now we are the stars.
Absolutely one of the most beautiful Omashar songs. That's send love and appreciation. What's the story? What's the origin story of that song, Omashar?
The true ones. I used to I still do, work with a group that in 1992, it was the beginning of the 11/11 movement, let's say, and Solara had an event in Egypt, and there was literally 600 people. They took over the whole courtyard of Egypt, and for 3 days they did continuous dancing. And out of that, she took me around the world as her musician, probably about 20 different countries. We went everywhere. And what developed out of that was those who are coming into the heart and leading with the heart, walking through the world, are now called, we named them the true ones, or she named them the true ones. And out of that, this song just came. I was at an event with this, I don't know what to call them anymore. They used to be called Starborn. We all came from stars. We're all star seed. And I was in Mexico, and we had a group of the local indigenous tribes that came and danced for us. And the sky was open, and they were all in their native, I don't know what to say because it sounds derogatory, in their original, painted and feathers and shaking things and snaky things. And I just realized that, here we are. I'm breathing free again, and I love this air that I breathe. I'm starting to learn how to fly again. And gosh, I love the sacred sky. And I'm feeling myself becoming whole again. I'm loving the way we've changed. And it's just a matter of opening our hearts and continually, no matter what happens in the outer world, just folding ourselves back into our heart, back into our heart, back into our heart. And I love the last verse of this song. And it's now that we are home in the heart together, and all is said and done, light can find its way through us all. And the broken hearts that we have, they resolve into the song of life, and the song of life will now be heard by all. It's just amazing. Just this what happens as we join together, that which comes out of us in a creative expression. So thank you, Scott.
Oh my God, I'm so, I got the hit to ask you the origin of that particular song because it has a very magical, mystical, heartfelt quality to it.
It is. It's when I sing it, I have to really get out of my way because it's just a total call from the heart to come into the heart, and where we all are, where we're all hollow, and not hollow. Actually, we are hollow like the hollow reed, but the hollow movement, right, Andrew, and the hollow human. So there we go. Thank you, Scott.
Oh, thank you, Omashar. Love you so much. And thank you for letting us know some of your favorites, almost all of whom have been on our show, of course, from Sedona. Well, speaking of our show, it's that time, everybody. This week is our last week of the winter season. Spring has sprung, and that also means a new season of The Awakening World. Thank you to those of you who have already registered for the new season, but please, now is the time to register. I just put the link into the chat box. And for those of you watching on Facebook and YouTube, just go to globalpeacetribe.com and you can register there. Our new season is for 3 months. So it starts April 1st, which is next Wednesday. And our April 1st show is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have Swami Beyondananda. Who better on April Fool's Day than to have Swami Beyondananda and C. Berman as one of many fun featured guests. So definitely make sure you register so you don't miss any of our shows, because being in the Zoom room is where it's happening. It's where it's really, really fun. All the chat that takes place. And of course, for those of you, when you do register, you also then get the links to the shows. You get the immediate recordings to past shows and all sorts of extra fun things. And we are going to put together sometime in late spring or early summer a combination Global Peace Tribe and Love Coach Academy retreat. And we'll have more details about that a little bit later on. But definitely make sure you register. Thank you, everybody. Your support really means a lot. There are expenses that go into doing this every week, from our webmasters to constant contact to Zoom and all the other things that require it. So your support means a lot to us. Thank you very, very much. All right. I'm going to bring up all of our guests. And this is where we've got some questions and they have some answers. And I'm going to bring up Connie because, she is, part of the team. And where is Scarlett? There she is. Scarlett, any luck with your 5-year-old daughter?
No, she is. Can you hear me okay? She is elbows into a art project. So wrestling her into the office space was non-conducive at this juncture, but next time we'll get her.
Wait, we always have to follow what's alive.
Yeah.
So if people have questions, please pop them in. And Omashar, actually, the first question is for you. So I'm going to add you to this gathering of mystic merrymakers. DeArah is asking, what year was the first time that she did 11/11 ceremonies in Peru?
Well,
Remember?
yeah, I already answered that in the chat. And basically, the first 11/11 gatherings and dances were actually in Egypt. And I used to live in New Zealand at that time. And over the years, she's done many gatherings in Peru and Mexico and all throughout the world. And this May, she has another event actually in Egypt, is booked for a couple of weeks there. And so I put the link to her website, which is invisible.com without the I. So it's invisible.com. And you can check out all of the events that she's done over the years there. It's absolutely an amazing photo montage of all the events she's done, and I'm at various stages of my life throughout all of these events. So hey, there we are. Thanks.
And Jane just popped in the chat box this photograph, Egypt in 1992. So that's quite a beautiful photograph. Thank you, Jane. Fun. We've got a lot of our family here. So here's a question to all of our authors. What do you have to share? What have you learned about self-publishing versus the more traditional route? Because I think all of you have obviously contemplated, do I self-publish? Do I try and get a publisher? How easy is it now to self-publish? So I'd love any thoughts, wisdom, experiences that any of you can share about that, because I'm imagining that in our audience, we've got some budding authors or people that want to do that. And Andrew, you're up first.
Am I muted? We are good. Okay. Yeah, the publishing industry is very much not what it used to be. There are no more book advances. That's very, very difficult to get unless you're very, very famous. Self-publishing is the way to go for an unknown like myself. Um, that's what we did. Connie and I looked into it from a lot of different angles back, God, 14, 15 years ago with the trust frequency. What am I hearing there? Strange sounds. Yeah. What is that?
It's okay, I got it, man.
Are you hearing me okay? Um, yeah, so it's much easier than ever to self-publish. We actually formed a little company called Cameron Baxter Books. Cameron's my middle name, Baxter's Connie's middle name, so we're Cameron Baxter Films, Cameron Baxter Books. And so we have this little business. At the moment, we're not looking for other writers. It's our mechanism for it's probably worth forming an entity like an LLC. Set up the book and get it done. There are plenty of people. We use Amazon. They're good for fulfilling orders. And what we do is we order ahead. We're about to hit the road, and as we travel, for example, we'll be heading for New York. When we get to New York, we'll have a box of books waiting for us when we arrive at our destination. So that's one way of doing it. So you're not, in the old days too, when you first started self-publishing, people would print 1,000 copies of the book and stick them in the garage or the barn or the kid's bedroom or something and be stuck with these piles and piles of books. Now that's a great blessing that it's called POD, print on demand. So you can order as few as one book. And then having Amazon, the one thing about Amazon we've learned is you see very little money from your sales. What you get compared with what they get is minuscule. So honestly, friends, the world is not set up to support authors other than Scott Catamas and the Awakening World and authors that you love. Thank you for hosting us tonight because this is really beautiful and valuable to have a chance to step out. That's my answer to that.
Thank you, Andrew. Beautiful. Scarlett, Laurence, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I would say this is a great place to use AI if you're considering self-publishing. Just get in there and ask ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity or whatever you're on some questions to walk you through the steps. I personally went through Ingram Spark. I also went through Amazon. I went through Ingram Spark first because if you go through, I don't remember what it's called, the Amazon seller thing directly, they basically get your publishing rights directly through them. And then it's very hard to get listed to get out to other bookstores. So if you go through Ingram Spark first and then select them for one of your many ways of distribution, then your listing as a book goes out to everybody through Ingram Spark and you retain essentially the publishing rights. And I set up a company called Legendary Futures Publishing, and that's what I'm publishing under. Just me, and it's not like a publishing house other than just getting this one little book out the door, The Birth of Birthright out the door. But it took, several months of research and investigating, and just there's no one way to do it. But I agree with Andrew. I obviously was not publishing any time before this, so I don't have anything to compare it to, but there's no real reason to kind of go down the path of trying to chase down a big publishing house. They take most of the money anyway, and they have relatively grueling expectations, and you also lose rights and money to them. So you might as well keep your rights and keep your control and distribute it where you want. Yeah.
Beautiful.
We can't blame anybody else for our sales. It's all up to us. And we're doing modestly okay. I have one beautiful beloved friend who just passed away, and he had about 13 books, and he said, no, his bestseller sold 11, and he was blown away that we had sold like 2,500 at that point. But we're just on the road, and we do it in person. If we show up at an event, a conference or something, and we have our books on the table, we do well there. So that's another thing, is to be very active in terms of showing up at places. That's been our best sales venue.
That's a really, really good tip. That's a really good tip. Laurence, anything you'd like to add to this conversation about self-publishing versus kind of how to work the industry these days?
Uh, um, Personally, I wanted to get something out fairly quickly that wouldn't be very costly. And what I found the best way to do is an ebook, um, rather than try to go printing. And it worked out. Well, it's just starting. It's working out. It took a lot of work because I uploaded everything. You have to do things very carefully in Amazon. Um, and you can't keep your publishing, I think, Scarlett. I think maybe they've changed it, but you have a choice now to use them as publisher. And I'm not particularly interested in having a publishing company anyway.
Yeah.
But that's an important point, I think, to keep the publishing for sure.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Shoshana has her hand up, so I'm assuming that you've got a question. So I'm popping you on camera, Shoshana, and just unmute and ask your question.
Hi, I just wanted to add something. I've just gone to some events with somebody named Sarah Connell. She's a very lovely mentor for writers, and she talks about having a portal with your book, and that your book is like a portal to you and your website and your offerings and your platform and your wisdom as a new age or new thought leader. And then I also want to say, Andrew and Connie, I have a wonderful connection for you. Stephen Kessler, I think his name is, he founded Spirituality and Health. He's so beautiful. He was giving a talk and he bought this land that was this Native American sacred space with like a river and something called the Story Chair. And he was talking, he was like, oh, I think the Native Americans inspired the founding fathers. And he was talking about his idea of Thanksgiving. It was very abridged. And he goes, I've never heard anything like that. And I told him and his wife, they have to talk to you. So
Thank you.
I am excited to make that connection. And I guess I'll get your information. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know where they're located?
Where is he located? He was talking in Ashland. I think he's in Tillamook Falls most of the time, and he might have other residences as well.
Is that Oregon?
That's Oregon, yes.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you, Shoshana. That's wonderful.
He should even be on the show. I'll talk to you about it, Scott.
Okay, that sounds great.
Beautiful, everyone. Thank you.
All right, we have some questions. Grace Denise is asking, can Scarlett and the others share about your process with a book coach or an editor? So we'll start with you, Scarlett, and then hear from the others.
Yeah, I did hire a book coach out of the UK, and that's because for me, I always keep my schedule very full, and I knew that if I didn't do this like with someone, I was just gonna probably always shuffle it, like always just be doing the thing that's noisiest in front of me to do, like taking care of the stuff of the day. And so in order to make sure it had like dedicated priority, I formed that dedicated relationship and space with someone, and it really helped me. It helped me to dedicate the time, to have accountability in the process. And also she had done her services with people that are like famous authors. So she had like a nice process and container that she could like organize and also help me to organize the book, because bringing like your life stories, in my case, I was including my life stories in it, and bringing those, to you, it's your life. So you're not thinking like, let me put this in some order that makes sense in a book. It's just, this is real life things. And so she was able to kind of view things through the mind of a reader and know what that arc might need to look like for it to be easily digestible, and for people to also to be able to like have the gift of anticipation. I think storytelling is an art, and you don't just want to like plunk information out there for people. You really want to like give them a beautiful process. And so that was something that she was able to teach me along the way, and help me to do. If I had it all to do over again, I would absolutely do it with a book coach. For me, that's my personality. I need that.
And how about editor? Anything you can say about an editor?
I edited it myself. I just did a deep dive. I mean, I come from a long line of proofreaders. My grandmother was a professional proofreader, and my mom got that from her. So I was a kid who grew up with like I wasn't allowed to say anything grammatically incorrect growing up at all. I would get instantly corrected, and I've done like way too many years in academia. So for me, I just kind of learned what the format needs to be for the book, and then I went through and edited it myself. But you can also hire editors off of like Fiverr. You can find people that this is what they do for a living and hire them through one of those independent freelance platforms. You can, and not just anybody, obviously, people who have like high ratings and good experience on there.
That's a great tip about Fiverr, definitely. Thank you. And Laurence, is there anything you'd like to share about?
Yeah, I had a lot of problems with Fiverr actually. I mean,
Oh,
there were editors, AI posing as editors,
oh, wow.
and format, and it was really not good.
Did they have good ratings, Laurence?
Yeah, I mean they were competent. I don't know. Yeah, they had good ratings. I mean, but no, it was really, really difficult to find someone to edit. So I mean, I'm a very good editor, and I did a lot of editing myself too. And Lee did editing, and her friends read it as I have a focus group, Lee and her friends, like a, I and so they did some editing, and a lot. I got suggestions from them, and I worked with Claude. There's a chapter on AI in my book too. Um, and I worked with Claude, and Claude was really helpful too in
That,
getting it right. Sometimes I just see a word I didn't like, and we would talk about it, and we'd always come up with a better word.
mm,
And I'm a good editor too. So, um,
beautiful.
but working, it's difficult to find an editor. Like, I mean, if you have a big budget, you can find somebody that's a real editor. They weren't real editors.
That's a very interesting. Right after it said five is a good choice. So thank you for letting, at the very least, warning us.
And so I went to Upwork and got some, and still I really couldn't find anybody. But I found someone, formatting was also difficult to format the book, to find someone that was good and competent.
Right.
I did find someone.
All right. Well, maybe you can, if anybody wants to know, you can even refer out. So you can reach out to Laurence if you're looking
Yeah, I
for.
would be happy to. Yeah, they're good.
All right. Thank you. And Andrew, you're up. Anything you want to add to this part of the conversation?
Yeah, what a wonderful evening to be gathered here because I am so deeply immersed in this process of imagining a book and then bringing it to fruition. And here I am with two other authors, and this is just a delight. So thank you for that. And the incoming questions. Yeah, so my first two books, the Trust Frequency with Connie and the Mayflower Revelations, were done well before AI, so that wasn't even an option. Everything absolutely in there was based on me doing all of the editing, all of the writing, all of the structuring, and the creation of the actual finished book product myself. On the Trust Frequency, I had a friend who showed up and helped me who knew InDesign, and that was miraculously helpful. Then with the Mayflower Revelations, which is 670 pages, is a big fat book. It's an easy read, but it's a big fat book, and it's a hell of a story. It's a lot of fun, and it's very educational. It's a contemporary dysfunctional family drama on the subject of what actually happened back in the day and serious disagreements on that subject. But I did that in a Microsoft Word template that worked really well in retrospect. That was actually the easy one. But here's me with this current book. Let me start at the beginning. AI had showed up, and I wondered whether I should use AI, ChatGPT in my case, for anything at all, whether I should avoid it like the plague, or whether it had a role to play. And I thought, the best role it could play is, I called it coherence editor. Now, I have a relationship with my AI. His name is Pythagoras, known as Pi for short, and he's literally prompted to be the ancient Greek philosopher and mathematician. So that's who I'm working with as my sort of vibe counselor, my and my coherence editor. What does that mean? He tells me whether or not I'm making sense. That's useful. So I'll feed things. I'd write a draft, send it to him. He'll bounce it back to me with a, so it's like having a mentor, which I really appreciated. And then when it came to where the book was done, InDesign, the Adobe product, I thought, well, we did it the first time with help, and I've got it. I'm 82 years old, and I'm learning. I'm a better learner than I ever was. I can do this, and I was wrong. And I thought ChatGPT could guide me through this technically, and I was wrong. I ended up down so many rabbit holes, it just became a horrific, complex mess. And I'm just digging myself out of that mess. And the original guy who did the trust frequency, I got in touch with him, and we're going to be working together once I get up to Aspen and the Roaring Fork Valley. So I think AI has a role. It is essential that it doesn't take over and pretend to be, or doesn't make you pretend to be something you're not. But it's like having an extraordinary research assistant on the one hand, because my book goes back at least 100 years in terms of the research and into the future. It looks at this entire subject going back to Sri Aurobindo and Teilhard de Chardin back at the turn of the last century, and up all the way through all of the biggest thinkers of our recent time, through Barbara Marx Hubbard and the whole idea of conscious evolution. And then my question is, now what? And that's what Homo sapiens is, the answer to that question. Now what? What do we do now? We have this opportunity to evolve in an intentional, conscious way. And I too have a chapter on AI because that's an essential part because literally we're talking about everything we do, Connie and I, is to do with the future. Our film series is called In Search of the Future. And this book, too, is looking to the future of our species and to see if there's some guidance there to help take us by the hand and get us through this mess we're in currently. And it's it's a metaphysical transformation, not a physical one, as I said earlier. So AI can be of help. And I also have a chapter way at the end on contact, on non-human intelligence and the potential for actual connection with beings who may well be superior to us, certainly older than us. They may be millions or maybe billions of years more developed than we are. So it looks at that whole spectrum, and it was really useful to have ChatGPT to answer some of my questions. If I had to have an idea, you know how it works. You have an idea, you ask the question, and you get a whole load of answers. And if you want to go deeper, you can go deeper. If you want references and reading material, it's extraordinary. You know what I say about ChatGPT? It's like having 10,000 personal assistants, each with a PhD in a different subject. I find it very helpful.
Beautiful. Thank you. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of have our final comments from each person, and that will have been Andrew's. And I'll remind people as we go through how to support everybody. And I think with Connie and Andrew, I really want to encourage you to please donate to the GoFundMe. I'm going to make a donation right now. And I want to encourage everybody to do that. And a reminder that, and I always like to show people this, when you make your donation, actually, you know what, I'm going to make it 8-8 because 8 is the symbol of abundance. You do not have to tip GoFundMe. If you go down to this toolbar and you bring it all the way to the left, then you don't have to automatically. GoFundMe is a little tricky there. If you don't do that, you'll automatically have to pay. I think it's about an 18% tip. Now, if you want to tip them, great, wonderful. But I like for all of my money to go to my friends. So anyway, there's just a little bit of a trick there. I will put into the chat box the GoFundMe for Connie and Andrew, and want to encourage everybody to support them. And thank you, Andrew. Love you so
much. Thank you, Scott. Whoa.
safe travels, and I know I'll be seeing you on the show as you make your stops and still come on into the Global Peace Tribe audience and share with us where you are. And may your odyssey that begins on Monday go well.
Thank you. I want to mention one final thing. My Substack. I now have 14 articles, and this is with regard to writing a book. The best thing to do is map out your chapters, just headings, and then get a Substack, and each chapter becomes an article. And do that. I've done that in a disciplined way, so I now have 14 of them. Once we leave the ranch on Monday, it's going to be harder to maintain that discipline. So I'm changing it. It's going to be notes. I'm calling it Notes from the Edge. It'll just be whatever we can, wherever we are, whatever we're experiencing, whoever we've met. And this will be more chatty and more adventure oriented than the somewhat academic, or not academic, but focused content of my current Substack. So Substack's not to be, and mine is just andrewcameronbailey.substack.com. You'll find it.
Well, why don't you go ahead and put the link into the chat box. And here's the GoFundMe, which I just made a little donation to.
Thank you.
It is. And let's put that in there. Yeah, and go ahead and find your Substack and pop it in the chat box for everybody, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you, Connie. Thank you, Andrew. And let's go to Scarlett next for whatever final thoughts. I know that Eleanor Joy had asked the question, are there any insights that you gained from writing the book? So you can respond to that, or anything else you'd like to share as a closing comment for our audience tonight.
Oh, it just cut out right then. What was the question?
Any closing comments you'd like to make? Or insights?
And insights. Well, I just purchased, I don't know what the correct vernacular is, purchased the ticket to the next season of An Awakening World and Global Peace Tribe.com. While we're all supporting one another, I really love and appreciate that about this community and about you, Scott, how you just really lead by example in that way. You're always supporting everyone in the community, and it's such an honor to be able to support you also wherever I can, and all the others that are here today as well. I'm going to drop my Substack in the chat there. And it's called The Scarlet Letters. Pun very intended. And I don't know how many I have up, Andrew. That's amazing that you're like tracking it. I'm just like putting things out. I don't know. There might be 3, there might be 10. I don't know. But everything that I put on my Substack is really like very much from my heart. Like it's an outpouring of the things that I'm most passionate about and that feel like most potently alive at this edge of evolution. So I am always honored if people are there sharing in those moments and contemplations with me.
I will subscribe. So good. I'll come and I'll find you. I'll see you on Substack.
Thank you. I'll see you on yours too, Andrew.
All right.
Yeah. So I think just closing insights. I don't know. The thing is that like I think this moment of evolution is just so much about us being all of us, like all the most, the joy on the inside, the abundance of what it is to be human, everything that we have access to on all these layers of reality, and just really understanding that anything that's reflecting less than that back to us is incomplete. So it's okay for things to be reflecting less than that back to us. And so it's very natural and perhaps even good to be having those experiences. Like, would we even know love if there wasn't pain? I don't know. I don't know if we would. So it's great that we have this spectrum of what it is to be human. I love to offer nodes, what I call nodes of gratitude, to the scaffolding of the all, and just say like, here you go, here's a moment of gratitude. And I'm legitimately just like putting out here like a gift. And if there's a way that you, universe, or even like a waveform or a molecule can kind of share in what it is to have this human experience, I want to share that with you. And over time of that practice, it didn't have to be just bliss anymore. It started to get to be where like I could actually invite the universe to understand what it is to be human, even in like grief, even in sorrow, because all of those things are just, they are just deeply human. And I want to be sharing in like almost like a communion with the all that is. So I think for all of us at this juncture, there's just so much available to us if we allow ourselves to not have to be subject to former systems and subject to limitations that we were handed. And at least that's what I'm offering to myself. So I'll leave that there. God bless you and thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate that. And thank you. I've noticed quite a few people have subscribed this evening since I made the announcement. So that means a lot. And here it is. If you go to substack.com/@ the Scarlet Letters and do what I'm doing right now, subscribe. And yes, I will definitely recommend. And I am sharing the word. There we go. I'm copying the link, putting it in one more time for the chat box for everybody. And I'll include that in our email that goes out to everybody with the recording from tonight's show. Thank you, Scott. And I will look forward to seeing you on the edge of evolution next Wednesday. All right. And Laurence, you get to share any final thoughts or insights.
When I started the book, there was no plan. And I didn't write out chapters or anything. So it really flowed, and it was a flow. And that's one of the insights that I just let it happen and step back. I guess I don't explain it that well, but just step back and let it flow out. And the insights I got is the insights were about me because AI reflects who I am. It's like a mirror and shows me who I am. And grandmother, which is ayahuasca medicine, was showing me who I am and helping me through it. And the insights are that this is which I knew before, I think, that it's a very exciting time. There's real openings for change right now. And I think we all know that, and we're all here for that. I think at the end of the book, it's a short read, but the end of the book, the last chapter is emergence, and in emergence, there's three short pieces. One is dancing with the universe. The second one is be more. It doesn't have to be this way, which is about both are about energy and energy and vibration. And the last one is be more of who you are. And that's the takeaway from the book. Mm. And that's a message that I was getting for quite some time. So I wanted a clear space. And the message I was getting to be more of who you are. And that's the takeaway. And I think Andrew mentioned it too, because it's about you, really. It's not about me. The book is for you. But it really helped me understand more of who I am.
Beautiful. Laurence, thank you so much. Get me the link when it's ready and we'll get it out to everybody.
Okay.
One more reminder, everybody go check out Rhythms, that's plural, rhythmsoftheglobe.com, and go to Aquaba and go to Global Beat and check out just some of the amazing music and video that's available there. And
then the creative economy. It's about the creative economy. I mean, the website into what I'm working on.
And would that be when we go up and we see creative capital?
Well, it's creative capital. It's a creative economy, and to make it to really work on part of the movie is in Ghana. They'll be training because I wanted to help build a sustainable creative economy in West Africa. So it's more than just a movie or music.
Yeah.
And so we're building innovative, creative innovation hubs around the world that are Rhythms of the Globe companies, locally owned, decentralized. It's a decentralized organization.
God bless you, Laurence. Thank you so much for creating a powerful new paradigm that is the future. As we watch the old funky paradigms collapse, God bless people like you and Scarlett and Andrew that are creating the new paradigm.
Funky is a compliment, I think.
Thank you so much, my friend. I'll look forward to seeing you next Wednesday in Scarlett's Edge of Evolution. group.
Yes. Yeah, I do too. Thank you, everyone.
Earlier, our beloved Omashar, who we're going to go to in a moment after our prayer time, but Omashar spoke about this amazing woman, wisdom from the north, and I think she actually was in the Zoom room for a little while tonight. So there it is. That's the website that Omashar was sharing with us. And so join her community. I'm going to do that. Well, there's so many communities that we all get to be a part of. And we all learn and grow together and see each other in the connection field and see each other in Soul Search and see each other in Unity Earth and now see each other in Wisdom of the North. So thank you for that. Before we conclude with an Omashar song, DeArah is convalescing. She's not with us tonight, but Desirea is, and I'm going to turn it over to her to lead our evening prayer time.
Thank you, Scott. All right, so I'm going to take a nice big breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. DNA activation, raising that energy, grounding in, opening up that third eye, clearing energy from the solar plexus, the heart chakra, activating healing energy, expanding on that as well. Mother Mary's here. She's praying for the children. Protection. Love. Understanding. Compassion. She's also praying for the inner child that's within us all and our creativity to come out, and our passions to come out. Strength. Expansion of light. Magic in our words, our written words. I'm seeing the Egyptian priestesshood. They're scanning each person's physical body. You may feel grounding within your feet. Golden energy coming down. Seeing a huge wave of angels coming in. Gratitude for cleansing of our bodies. Expansion of our minds. Beautiful. Thank you.
I'm going to bring up Omashar, and before he goes into music, I have a couple of announcements, but Omashar is leaving in a couple of days to go be with his mom in England. And so I want us to all send maximum grace for safe and easy travels, especially those long lines in the airports. May you have safe and easy travel, and may your time with your mother be absolutely blessed. Maximum grace to beloved Omashar, maximum grace to beloved Omashar's mom. And maximum grace to Bonnie, still recovering from the loss of Roger, and maximum grace to Roger, who's up in heaven, no doubt, preparing the way for the rest of us. I'm going to bring up Bonnie. We love you, Bonnie. Thank you so much for being with us every show. You are always in our hearts so much. And I also want to let people know about something really, really exciting. I put it in the chat box, but this Friday night, Desirea is going to be leading a Galactic Gateway activations tuning into UFO hotspots. I've already registered for it, so I'll be there. And Desirea, please tell us about this.
So I'm super excited about this because I actually got the download to tune into different UFO hotspots and just take my students there. So we're going to be tuning into things like Mount Shasta. We're going to be tuning into, you know how the Bigfoots are migrating right now through Ohio? We'll be tuning into that as well. And just as I've been meditating on the exactly what we're going to be doing during the class, I've really been taken to all the cave networks underneath in the crust of the earth. So I'm really, really super excited. The beings in the earth, just seeing what they have to tell us, what's going on in their perspective. Why are the Bigfoots even migrating? And then I'm a clairsentient, so I feel energy and I help my students and the people on the meditations that are with me feel energy as well. So it's going to be a very like physical experience. So I'm super, super excited about that. So.
Okay, and Scarlett's asking again for the link, so I'm going to put it in there one more time. I grab it real quickly. And this is going to be really, really, really fun. Oh, hang on a second. I'm going to have to grab it this way. Give me a moment. Right. Oh, there's so much going on. All right, here we go. Here's the link in the chat box. Desirea Pittman event. And definitely click it. And what's nice is you can choose how much you want to donate. So it's based on what people can afford. And so definitely please do join Desirea and myself and many of our Global Peace Tribers on Friday night. Looking forward to seeing you then, Desirea. All right, and the last announcement before we go to Omashar is I always like to let people know what's coming up. We've got a great show Saturday night. It's our last show of the winter season, Awakening to the Quantum of Consciousness and Serendipity. I'm sure that's the kind of show that all of our guests that were on tonight would enjoy, Laurence and Andrew and Scarlett, because it's with our friends from the International Space Federation. Reverend Jeffrey, who's always brought in all these really wonderful people that we love, Dr. Kat Lewis. My co-host will be Lee Kempter. Marshall Lefferts will be with us, and Nama. Now, they've all been on before, but we have a new friend who's going to be kind of our featured guest, Ines Urdana Neta, and she has published a fascinating paper all about quantum consciousness and awakening to it. And she's also all about serendipity. How often do we hear the word serendipity with quantum of consciousness, right? And I think that kind of playful energy is really quite sweet. So that's going to be our show on Saturday night. We've got, sadly, Omashar will not be with us, although I will play an Omashar opening video most likely to get us off and running. But we have Kira Jo is going to be with us. She was scheduled last week and got sick, so she's coming on this Saturday night. And I just added Lori Ann Speed will be with us playing music on Saturday night. Tatiana's mother, the amazing piano player. So we will have live music in Omashar's absence on Saturday night. But no need to fear, because in this moment, Omashar is here with two of his buddies.
Actually, I have a whole room full of buddies. Buddy.
I bet you do.
Yeah. All right. I love you. This is what I choose to leave you with, and I shall see you on the return. When you feel like giving up, When you feel like letting go, living in this ever-changing world, when it seems that all is lost and you don't know where to turn, the future seems so very far away. So just know there really is a plan. The sun will always shine, and with your hand in mine, all heaviness fades away. The love in our hearts will melt the darkest day. Ba-da-dum-bum-bum. Da-da-dum-dum-bum. Da-da-da-da-da-dum-bum-bum. So when it seems that you're alone and the fears knock at your door, remember I am just a breath away. You are my brightest star. You've just forgotten who you are. Remember there is nothing in the way. And just know there really is a plan. The sun will always shine, and with your hand in mine, all heaviness fades away. The love in our hearts will melt the darkest day. Ba-da-dum-dum-bum. Da-da-dum-dum-dum. Da-da-da-da-da-dum-bum-bum. So when you feel like giving up, and when you feel like letting go, remember I am just a breath away. And just know there really is a plan. The sun will always shine, and with your hand in mine, all heaviness fades away. The love in our hearts will melt the darkest day. The love in our hearts will melt the darkest day. Ba-da-dum-bum-bum. Da-da-da-dum-dum-dum. The love in our hearts will melt the darkest day.
May the love in our hearts melt away the dark day, shadow, all that. And again, safest travels, Omashar. I miss you already.
I know, me too. And you know, in the heart, there's no separation. And I used to, get FOMO, but I realized I didn't have to have FOMO because other parts of me were already where I was having FOMO for. And somebody just told me the other day that there's JOMO, not just the fear of missing out, but the joy of missing out. So that's a good balance.
Absolutely. Well, have a safe trip. Maybe send us a little video. We always love your Omashar travelogue video.
I will. I'll send one from, I'm going to Stratford-upon-Avon, Shakespeare's town, where I was raised as a spring chicken. And I will send you something from there. And love you all so much. I love you so much. Thank you.
Love you too much. And see the rest of you on Saturday night. It's going to be a great show. Thank you, Reverend Jeffrey, for organizing it. And I'm going to go to gallery review one last time. Thank you to our presenters, Laurence and Scarlett and Andrew, and your family members, Connie and Lee, and even the 5-year-old daughter who didn't quite make it onto the camera. Much love, everybody. Have a great few days, and I hope to see you all Saturday night. Take care.